destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill.
Thank you to His Excellency for enabling this initiative to define a long-term narrative to make the world more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable. With all the current issues on our agenda, we tend to forget that we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, which accelerates global change in much more comprehensive and faster ways than the previous three revolutions. I'm proud that the government of Dubai has been so foresighted in establishing a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in cooperation with the World Economic Forum. The objective is to quickly recognize the potential of new technologies as well as develop the necessary ethical and political frameworks around those new technologies to ensure that those technologies are human-centered and society-oriented. History is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected. As the profound challenges to mankind, such as climate change, are globally interconnected and require collaborative responses. In conclusion, and despite all the challenges, we have to uphold our responsibility, which we have towards the next generation, and which we can only fulfill through collaboration on a national and on a global level. I wish you an impactful and successful meeting. In times of crisis, the role of governments is more important and more relevant than ever. What is also needed is a summit like this one to go beyond crisis management and to look into constructive ways we can build our common future.
You've done a lot for the world, which is also why I'm asking you about the kind of world you'd like to leave behind.
I'm teaching prosperity, happiness, money, truth. The schools are this. I fought against this. Would you like these people to take over India? You don't know, do you?
No, I do. I definitely wouldn't want a communist government.
That's why I came in here and said, Mr. Modi is so well respected. He's a good man. I wouldn't want his job. Let me tell you why. I said it before. The world is now split in two. It's called Russia, China, America, India in the middle. India's caught now in the middle of the biggest changes in world history. And the war is we're going to go to war. I can tell already. So it's going to be China versus America. You guys already know because you have Pakistan, you still have Kashmir, we still have war here. But if you don't fight, people just take everything. I wish there wasn't war. Let's live like the Beatles and be paid for. That's not the way life is. What's killing America today is all these hippies. They say, there's no more police. Did you know that? They're taking police away from America. Did you know that? And as violence breaks out. Could you imagine if there was no police here? There'd be chaos. So many people live in this very, very little, if we could all live like we're in heaven. Well, we don't. We live here on planet Earth. It's a great place. I'm having a good time. Okay, and there's a lot of work to do here. Okay. To make people's lives better.
Do you think this is a third world war situation?
Third World War?
Yeah.
We're going to war right now.
Okay.
Can't you see it? Taiwan, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Because you've been a part of war yourself?
I went to school for war. I'm an academy graduate. I don't know if you know, only certain young men are chosen for these schools. We're trained in war. Okay?
The holy sites in Jerusalem. The ongoing reckless statements and actions of this minister only sow chaos and exacerbate tensions. What could have possibly happened in Israel to make the U.S. State Department say something like this? The U.S. administration just made it very clear to Israel that they do not want a house of prayer on the Temple Mount. We're going to get into all of that here on today's show. I'm Justin.
Kundalini's experiences, psychedelics, I haven't tried, so I don't know, but I had Kundalini's experiences, and I had dissolution experiences, and I had angels and Jesus experiences, and I had so many experiences.
Kamala Harris's Department of Justice picking right back up where Joe Biden's left off. This is election interference. This Jack Smith case, the indictments against Donald Trump, election interference. This is a weaponization of the system to prevent Donald Trump from becoming the president. Show your support right now. Stand with Donald Trump. Fight for America right alongside us.
Currently as governor of South Dakota, which neighbors Minnesota, where Walz is governor. Governor Noam, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. So again, you served, and I did too, with Tim Walz in Congress, but you've had the privilege of being a neighboring governor of Tim Walz. Tell us what you've seen. What kind of leader is he?
Well, he's a bully, and he pushes mandates down on his people. In fact, we've seen a mass exodus of people out of Minnesota that have sought refuge in South Dakota, and they've come here to get away from what he's done to their families, how he's devastated their businesses by shutting them down, raising their taxes, increasing their costs, that they can no longer cash flow and provide for their families. So listen, this is a completely different Tim Walz than what we served with, Sean. When I served with him in Congress, he cared about people having their Second Amendment rights. He cared about giving people flexibility and freedom. We sponsored legislation together. He was from a more conservative district of Minnesota, but he completely changed when he became governor. We think we saw the real Tim Walz that he had been hiding for several years. He's got ties to companies in China. You don't go to China 30 times to be a tourist, to look at the sites. You go there because you've got an affiliation with their government. You go there and you take students there to learn from them. If you think communism is the way to better protect people, which is what he truly does believe. And he's got ties to companies in China, such as the Beijing Genomic Institute, that he's funneled money to. And that company has ties to communist and CCP leaders. So, he truly is someone that wants to undermine the United States of America. We cannot trust him by putting him in the White House.
Well, you're right. He undermined the freedom of his constituents in Minnesota. But you're right. We served him in Congress. He was a moderate guy, right? Because he had a very Republican-leaning congressional district. But when he was unleashed as a governor, we saw the true Tim Walz come out, and it was crazy. You mentioned what's going on with the CCP. I want to talk about that. So he taught in China from 89 to 90. He visited the country 30 times. He got married on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. He honeymooned in China. And to your point, he promoted Chinese communism as a teacher to his American students. So I think what this does, Governor, is it begs the question, is Tim Walz a national security risk?
Absolutely. I'm 100% convinced he's a national security risk. This man wants America to grow up and be more like China, which is the exact opposite of what our leaders should be doing. I have spent all of my time fighting China, and for 30 years I've been working in policy on protecting our food supply, and we've seen China not only manipulate our currency, steal our IP, treat us unfairly in trade agreements, they've also spied on us. They've come in and they're taking and buying our land. I have banned them purchasing land and doing state contracts in South Dakota. The rest of the country needs to realize and wake up that we do not want a leader like Tim Walz and Kamala Harris in the White House because of how they would undermine our national security. It's a big concern, and I hope we start talking about it a little bit more, that you have to have people in the White House that truly want to protect us, protect our republic, and fight socialism, fight Marxism, fight communism. That's not Tim Walz.
Tim Walz's leadership has been so bad. You have the western portion of Minnesota that's asking to actually cede from Minnesota and join your state of South Dakota. Are you going to accept them if that potentially happens? You going to take part of Minnesota, Christy?
Yeah, we'll take anybody that wants to be more free. But it's amazing if you look at the map of Minnesota, how little support he does have. The support he does have is in his bigger cities, but the vast majority of the land mass of Minnesota does not like his leadership, has left his leadership. We've had tens of thousands of people that have come from Minnesota and come to South Dakota because they find that he doesn't share their values, and he's crippled them and their economy, and they just can't stand it anymore and want to find somewhere else where they can raise their families and pursue the American dream.
Well, I'm on the eastern border in Wisconsin, and I have the same thing. We have people leaving Minnesota and coming to Wisconsin. They vote for freedom, and we love their money, but this crowded urban areas. I want to quickly through this, Governor, because the ones come since the DNC, and we see the races are very tight. We have Harris winning in Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada.
chilling and scary to everybody, both attacks. How did the Harris campaign respond? They mocked the cyber attack. Kamala, there's nothing funny about a DDoS attack or an outside country like Iran, Russia, China hacking President Trump's website. Nothing at all. Matter of fact, it shows a vulnerability that may run far deeper than anybody knows. Meanwhile, tensions are high all across the Middle East again tonight. Sources are telling our own Trey Yanks that Israel fears a strike from Iran could come at any moment. The Wall Street Journal tonight reporting that Israel has put the IDF on high alert. Now, today the Pentagon announced a new deployment of American resources to the region. Here with reaction, IDF Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohn. Before we get into the Iranian threat with Israel, looks like the number one prime suspect in the Trump website attack is Iran. You heard Elon Musk, you know what a DDoS attack is. I don't think anybody really fully recognizes the danger, the existential threat that is a cyber attack like this. Israel has to deal with this every day. When you hear that's happening in this country, I'm sure sirens are blaring in your head. Am I wrong?
No, Sean, you're absolutely right once again. And the fact is that the cultural warfare campaign, which is what I'm calling the radical left's deployment over the last 3.5 years within this country to implode it, has single-handedly emboldened the Iranian Islamic regime.
Larger war in the Middle East. Overnight, Israel launching what it's calling preemptive strikes against Hezbollah, saying the Iranian-backed militant group was planning to stage a large-scale attack this morning. Hezbollah then responding with drones and missiles. The exchange marks a major escalation of violence since the Israel-Hamas war began on October 7th, now threatening to open a second battlefront that's raising serious concerns that the entire Middle East could spiral into chaos, pulling other countries into a wider regional conflict that could lead to U.S. involvement. We're following all of the latest developments tonight, starting with Matt Bradley in Tel Aviv.
The day began with a massive display of firepower. Israel launched what it called a preemptive strike against a planned Hezbollah attack from Lebanon. But a pre-dawn volley of Hezbollah rockets and drones from Lebanon caused no civilian casualties, Israeli authorities said, and minimal damage. A month of rising fears about a region-wide war averted for now.
I'm David Barrows. Jonathan Shaw is on assignment. We apologize for our earlier coverage of the so-called Madison race riots. Reports coming in now indicate the violence is neither racially motivated nor restricted to the greater Madison area. What is certain is that this seemingly unexplainable mass hysteria continues to spread throughout the heartland, with injuries reported to be in the thousands. We now go live to Catherine Lanphier at St. Augustine Memorial Hospital. Catherine?
David, the staff here says they haven't seen anything close to the sheer volume of casualties. Badly injured, very frightened people are pouring in, no exaggeration, by the hundreds. And we're told that most of the injuries are bites, not gunshot or stab wounds, as we were led to believe earlier. Just a few minutes ago, we spoke with one of the doctors that has been on call since this morning when the patients arrived.
We have seen cases of complete digit finger extraction, deep throat laceration,
even a large section of flesh torn away as if by a rabid dog or wild animal.
We've been told by nurses there have been complications.
Almost all wounds have shown immediate infection. Many have went into toxic shock. One patient...
Have there been fatalities?
Excuse me, please. I'm sorry, I have to go.
I was coming home from work, and I saw this woman in the road, and she was moaning or something, so I went out to go see. I thought she got hit by a car or something like that, and I went to go reach out to help her, and she bit me in the arm, scratched up my face, and it just took off. And
Doctors are still at a loss as to the reason behind these attacks, and the situation doesn't seem to be improving. The past few minutes, I've seen 4 ambulances and several cars pull up with victims seeking emergency care. Whatever's going on, it seems to be far from over. David?
Thank you, Catherine. Speculation seems to surround the origin of this phenomenon. Theories include an airborne plague, a toxic chemical spill, bioterrorism, and even a spaceborne virus. Viewers should be advised that there is no official explanation as of yet. Teams from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Center for Disease Control, and Office of Emergency Preparedness have been dispatched to Chicago, Madison, and the Twin Cities. While martial law has not been declared, the governors of all 3 states are encouraging citizens to remain calm and stay at home for the present. We've had no official response from the White House, but it can be confirmed that the president is considering returning from his fishing trip at Jackson Hole. More on the situation as it develops.
The president wants to make it perfectly clear that this is not a case of bioterrorism. No such agents exist in the arsenal of any nation or known terrorist group. He also wants to stress the need for calm and the respect for law and order. The quicker people can get off the streets and into their homes, the quicker the appropriate federal and state agencies can reach these troubled areas. Although a further call-up of reservists is on the table, our current overseas military assets will remain in place to reassure our allies that this is a minor, containable situation that we expect to see fully resolved in 24 hours or less.
Again, that was Press Secretary William Kaplan with the first official statement from the White House a little over 30 minutes ago, stressing calm and what he assures us is a fully containable situation. I've just received word from my producers that a tape showing one of these random attacks has been dropped off at our studio. I'm being told that the tape contains graphic material and violence, and viewers should be advised.
I'm done with your eyes, man. She's totally just
Look at that thing!
She's hot.
No, you're nerd.
Come on, man.
Both of us were in
No, it's cool.
All right, you know what?
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
There you go. Just walk up to her, walk up to her. Come on, hit her on the head, knock her out. It's greater for them, baby. Yes. Dude, look at those melons, man. Come on. Are you see that? Look at that. She is so hot. She's the hottest girl in school. There you go. There you go. Come on, man. Use some of those wrestling skills, baby. Yeah, that's
I'd like to apologize for the footage you just witnessed. I did not have the chance to previously view it, and I'm sure neither did my producers, or they would have never allowed material of such poor taste to be broadcast on this or any television show, especially a news report.
The human mouth is full of millions of germs, and most people don't practice good dental hygiene. So naturally, any bite is going to become infected, no matter from whom. These people don't have some sort of voodoo hoodoo disease.
Yes, but Dr. Collar,
Look, David, what you fail to realize is that most of these so-called experts are looking in the wrong direction. The problem is not chemical or biological, it's psychological. What we're witnessing here is the spontaneous combustion of a pent-up rage fueled by frustration over a pressurized society. It's the snapped postal worker on a national level.
Well, how can you explain that
Look, in my new book, USA bomb.
Look, I'm sorry, we have to cut away right now. I'm just being
explained-
informed that both Istanbul and New Delhi are reporting sporadic outbreaks of violence, similar to those here at home. And clearly this is no longer an American... We're just getting a picture from our BBC correspondent. Over to Trevor Hanna in London. Trevor?
We're in Notting Hill, a part of London. Who knows if this report will ever be transmitted? Communication is at best limited. The city, it seems, is being overrun with man-eating creatures. And...
They're coming!
Run!
Like most stations, we're experiencing technical problems with our satellite connection, but we'll try and follow the situation and bring you up-to-date information from the other side of the globe as it comes. We now have word on the situation in New York. All bridges and tunnels to Manhattan are being destroyed, and a barrier of Coast Guard craft is taking up position around the island. We don't know, however, if this is to keep people from getting in or getting out. We should have footage from New York shortly. The state and local authorities are urging communities to form clean and sweep teams. We'll now go live to Monroeville, just outside of Pittsburgh, where one of these sweeps is currently underway.
Daddy, come on! Put another round on that woman over there. She's a twitcher. She's a twitcher. We get these twitchers. We shoot them. They go down. They keep moving. We can't tell if they're dead or not. Head? Dead. We sure got a lot of them today. You know what the bad part of all this is? I know some of these people. I know some of these people that we're putting down. What are you gonna do? It has to be done. One of these guys was a real estate agent. He sold me my house. He was over there. I guess he's over there now. But that woman right there? I think I did her.
Can't reach Philadelphia.
The AP wire
This can't
just
be right.
went down.
We have some startling information from Fran Parker, live at the Hammond County Medical Examiner's Office.
Fran, what I'm about to show you is one of the most horrific. Stand back, and I told you, please keep your distance. You can see how dangerous it is. No person has survived this disease. And I can assure you that every victim that has come into this hospital has turned out just like this. They have died on the table. What has happened though, is that they have actually come back from the dead.
So you're telling me this man has come back to life?
I know it sounds absolutely impossible, but what we're talking about here is reanimation, but of dead matter. Look at this one. I was given an autopsy too. During the whole autopsy, he never stopped moving. And I took out his heart and half his digestive tract. What I'm trying to tell you is,
Oh my God.
the dead are walking. That's all I can say.
Well, how are people supposed to protect themselves, Doctor?
This is the most contagious disease I've ever seen. What I would say, and I'm warning you, everybody, do not come in contact with any of these zombies.
And there you have it, David. The dead are alive, and there's no cure, and there's no explanation, and there's no nothing. Oh my God! David,